Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Leaf News. I'm Cameron Andrews here with Mr. Panda here to interview Harvey Long. Hi, Harvey.
Hi.
So, Harvey, would you like to start with saying anything, or?
Yeah. Hi guys. My name is Harvey. I'm pretty sure you guys know who I am. If you don't, then I feel sorry for you. I've been here for 2 years, and yeah, I'm Harvey. That's all I really need to know about me.
So, Harvey, are you running for anything currently right now?
Yeah, I am running for AC.
When are the AC elections exactly?
I think they're supposed to be held next week.
Okay, because I'm running too, that's why I was wondering. Okay, so can you tell us why you should win the AC election? Because aren't you
Uh,
currently on AC?
I've been here for 2 years. We all know that, and I feel that I need to be in the AC because I have some major experience with getting people into the mock collection community, running for stuff, getting people to be active. As you know, I have a lot of background experience with that, such as my own community, which is Official Mech USA, in which I am. I started this community back like a week ago, more specifically, and it already has around 83 members and a good amount of senators and stuff. Not stuff has been handled, and people are running. And this is what we need in Mech. We don't need a community that's been revolved around strict rules that, oh, if you kick people, you should be kicked for 10 minutes. Not none of that childish stuff. I want people to join the community and come in with this agenda that they're going to come, run, and win. Not come, run, and face the existing rules and not be able to have any chance. Because right now, what we've been seeing in the Senate and the House are the same people getting reelected, and not many people have not gotten any chance to actually breathe in this atmosphere because of how this atmosphere favors the people that are already in the community. So my ordeal is if you vote for me, you'll see a huge change. You'll see that people who you've not thought of running, run. You'll see people you've not thought of winning, winning. Maybe except for JP, for example, because I don't really like him at all. But yeah, you'll see a lot of people winning and running and all that stuff, and it's gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna work 100%. All I know that it will work. And the reason why I think it will work is because within the last 2 months, Mech has went from around 1,300 to 1,600, which is around 300 people joining. And out of 300 people, more than 200 are Democrats. So since there's a lot more Democrats than there are Republicans, it's not really good in more aspects because it allows the Republicans to elect more new people than Democrats do elect new people. No attacks to the Republicans. The Republicans are doing really well right now. Sure, they're not doing very well when it comes to generic ballot, where they are sort of third party. But at the end of the day, I think the Republicans are having a much better strategy for getting new people into Congress than Democrats. I've been hearing this notion that, oh yeah, Easton Wilkins, he's the representative of D4. He's new. Well, he's been in Mech for more than 2 months now. And anyone who's been in Mech for more than 2 months is not new to me. So we need more people to join, run, and win, and basically get their voices out there.
Okay, so I'd like also say people in the chat, if you have any questions, please ask them. We'll try to ask them all if we can. And Mr. Panda, do you have any questions for Harvey?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Harvey, if you get elected to AC, what will one of your first actions be?
One of my first actions is to make sure that we actually have people running. I mean, that's going to be a huge aspect of my campaign, and it's getting people to run. I want people to join the community with this agenda that they are going to run. They're going to pass their own agenda, and then they're going to win. And I don't think that it's the case in Mech anymore. Mech has favored many of the people like Sam Martinez, Terrell McCann, I guess you can say, except for he isn't really inclined to be in Mech as much as he could be. Many of these people have been in Congress for a long time. Let's say, for example, Tom Kirkman and Ethan Fitzgerald, two people who I strongly despise. They have been in Congress for a long time. Tom Kirkman has been the representative of two different districts, I believe. He was a senator and he was a vice president. Ethan Fitzgerald was a senator, representative, and then back to senator and representative, I think, and he was a vice president and president. He's already served all branches of government, which means by my own standard, he shouldn't even be able to run for elections anymore. We need new people to join. We need new people to be a part of these cabinet positions like Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Interior, Secretary of Health and Human Services. We need new people to take these seats, not the same people who've been in Congress since back in December. And MEC has been growing over this time. We all know that. MEC has went from around 1,000 members back in December to 1,600. That is good news for the community by Ethan's part. But the bad thing on Ethan's part is the fact that the same people are being elected. And many people are going to say, oh, yeah, you're just going on this tangent because you've never been elected to anything. Well, that's not the case. The reason why is because MEC has been growing. And even though it's been growing, the same people have been elected over and over again. So despite people saying, oh, yeah, MEC has changed, MEC has been growing and all that stuff, the same people have been elected. And there's no doubt about that.
Okay, so you're...
I do have a question.
Sorry, go on, Mr. Who has audio on behind them?
Not me. I do have a question though. What would you do about the Democratic Party? Because would you try regulating that if you can't keep running for would you try putting like a term limit for representatives, or what would you do about it?
I'd like to say I'm a very strong supporter of term limits. I personally feel that I like what I said in the last question by Cameron Andrews. We need new people running. And the only real way that we will ever get new people running, or new people that are exerted enough to actually run, is if we enact term limits for the Senate, the House, everything, even the vice presidency and the presidency, which I think they do have term limits, but not to the extent, because people like Tom, who served Trey Cranfield's term, is able to run for a second term, which technically would be his third term because he was president under Trey's administration and his perennial term, and then he ran for the first election and he had a second term, so that's second term, and he's still able to run for re-election. So we need to clamp on that area. When it comes to how trying to figure out the Democratic Party, which has been, I guess you can say, bloated at this point. I am a Democrat, but I just don't understand how much Democrats are here in comparison to Republicans and other parties like that. I mean, when you're taking a party like the Democratic Party, it's really hard to triangulate how it would be easy for a Lib Dem or a Republican to win. Because now in times, we are suffering the same things that happen in real life. And that's partisan voting. And you can see it because people like Raymundo Felix almost beat Jacob Taney, mainly because of partisan.
Can you start over again, Harvey? You cut out.
So yeah, whenever it comes to people like Jacob Taney, for example, he ran in D1. He almost lost to Raymundo Felix because of alt, and it wasn't just because of alt. It was also because of the fact that there was partisan Dems that were just supporting their own ideology without thinking in a broad fashion. In my opinion, when it comes to making sure that the Democratic Party, and more specifically MEC, is not as partisan and it allows many people to have a chance, is term limits. Term limits is the deal, and that's something I'm going to fight for. Anyone who believes that, anyone who actually brings up this motion that, we need people running, people have the rights to run and all that stuff. Sure, it's a good idea when it comes to whenever MEC has around 400 members. But when MEC has been constantly growing to the extent where there's almost 400 plus people since 3 months ago, It's about damn time we have new people run, and not the same people who've been in Congress since December.
Do you think they're getting voted in the primaries because of name recognition?
Yeah, sure. They are being elected because of name recognition. When you look at people like Ben Cher, for example, he's new to MEC. He hasn't been given a chance once in Congress. People like the moderator, Cameron Andrews, has never been given a chance in that Congress. Louisa Reed, even some people call her a dictator and all that stuff. She hasn't got a chance. People like Icy Burgletree have not been given a chance. Albert Fass hasn't been given a chance. Logan Rabe hasn't been given a chance. Noah McCarthy hasn't been given a chance. Many people in MEC has not been given a chance because of name recognition. People in MEC simply vote for their candidates because their candidates have much more name recognition. And I can give you a handful of names like Serlo, Brett Patrick, Joe Szymanski, Aaron Stenman, Bryson Pittman, Spencer Blum, Stephen Bryan. So many people in MEC who have been here since like 2 months ago haven't been given a chance. And that's the worst part about MEC. That's why you can see people making alternative communities called official MEC USA or MEC USA or MEC anything, because those communities are tailored to give other people a chance rather than allowing the same people to be elected on and on again. And it's just a simple truth. There's not much to actually dispute that because of the fact that we have Ethan Fitzgerald, Tom Kirkman, both are relatively popular in MEC. They keep on winning elections. People like Sam keep on winning elections. People like Claudio keep on winning elections. People like Malik, who left MEC, even keeps on being given chances. People that have been historically popular amongst MEC have been historically in Congress. And for anyone who believes, I personally have started ever since the 2 seasons ago to endorse people who are a lot less popular than those who are popular, because I do believe that people need to be given a chance. People like Cameron Scott, although he showed his genitals in chat, he needs to be given a chance. People in MEC has to be given a chance regardless of the person running against them being popular. And anyone who believes that they should be given a chance is a complete hypocrite.
Okay, I have a question. Well, how do you feel about the current state of the MEC Republican Party? A lot of people say it's dead or dying. What do you think about that?
I don't think the Republican Party is dying. We had the same thing happening back in not August, but October or December or November, where the Republicans only had like 10 people in the party. And 10 people back in early MEC was not a lot of people. I mean, 10 people can only give you around 20% of the vote in a general election. So
Harvey,
right now, as we are growing and as more people from both the Republican and Democratic Party are being added, I think that there's a high chance that the Republican Party is not dead. When we're taking this into a popular vote aspect, the Republicans are in a better position than they were since back in November, and mainly due to the fact that they have more members. And I personally think that they could be dying. I'm not going to dispute that they could be dying, but they're not dying to an extent where the party's absolutely dead for elections to come. There's a chance that they might have some House seats. There's a chance that they might have the Senate seat. They might have the presidency next season if people like Ryan Service runs for president, who's moderately viewed great from both sides. So the Republican Party isn't dead. They're just not at the best point in time right now.
Harvey, I will say one thing. In November and October, the Republicans did control the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think? We're talking about another party. A lot of people, what do you think about the Liberal Democratic Party? A lot of people say it's for the elites, or the reason for Tom Kirkman to not go into the primary. Do you believe this? And what do you think? Do you think it's going to die like a lot of people say? What do you think what's your opinion on the Liberal Democratic Party?
My opinion on the Liberal Democratic Party is I strongly disapprove. The Liberal Democratic Party was made under this notion that Mr. McCann was a bad chairman, that Mr. Martinez was a bad chairman, that many of these vice chairmen, including me, were a leader within the Democratic Party. And this party was specifically designed to give people within the Liberal Democratic Party more of an advantage. And it was also designed for Tom to win the nomination in which he would win the presidency. And the reason why I say this is because in the same exact time in which the Liberal Democrats was just being formed, Iowa was leading Tom by 42%. And all of a sudden, he ends up joining this a ghost party and runs for the presidential nomination, in which he ends up winning the nomination immediately without any challenger whatsoever, which is kind of the shocking point. The shocking point is, and also,
Harvey. Technically, he did have a challenger, but it was not a big name challenger.
the thing is the reason why it was made, it was because they were tired of the people who were making the Democratic Party better. They were tired of Tom losing when he was actually winning, and he has been winning for quite a long time. They have been tired with this whole two-party system, which I sort of think is hypocrisy. They had the Rent is Too Damn High party back in January and March. They had the Reform Party early 2017. They had so many chances to make a third party that's already been established great. But no, they didn't. They created the Liberal Democratic Party as a way to exclude the people in the Democratic Party and think of them as illegitimate voters, in which that Tom would win the nomination. That is not how we do it in MEC. And that's why I strongly disagree with the Liberal Dems.
I will say, Harvey, the Liberal Dems do give the Republicans better chances of winning because they split the Democratic vote.
The thing is they haven't been splitting much of the Democratic vote because of the fact that there's never been a lot of Liberal Democratic candidates running for House. I mean, the only one running for that I have knowledge of is Fred Rogers, and he's only getting 5%. So there's not much to say about that. I think that it's not that just that party that's vote splitting for the Democrats and both the Republicans in some aspects, because most of the Lib Dems are basically Republicans who shipped over just because they thought that the Lib Dems were a better choice when it actually wasn't. Well, there's actually a People's Party. There's the Prohibition Party, which I'm considering joining, to be quite frank with you. And only one Lib Dem candidate has actually been getting that much support, and it was actually two candidates, sorry, Dom Collins and Aaron Sendon, which Dom Collins, I believe, left and never announced his candidacy again. Yeah, there's not much support within the Lib Dem party ever since the presidential election. They peaked popularity within the Lib Dem, the presidential election. But after the presidential election, they're sort of dying out when you think about this in number aspects, because they went from having an advantage in the presidential election, which they won, to only getting 5% in the House races. So that's not good news for their party in general. And if I were to, if you were to ask me a question saying which party is in a better position, the Republicans or the Lib Dems, gotta be quite frank, it's most likely the Republicans who are in a better position, because if they don't get the presidency or hold the presidency in the next presidential election, and then they end up losing seats in the House, which I'm pretty sure they do have seats in the House, and they end up getting killed in the numbers when it comes to polls and ballots, they're killed. They might as well just join the Republican or the Democratic Party.
Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm gonna ask you another party. Of course, what is your opinion on the MEC Democratic Party?
The MEC Democratic Party has been in the best shape it's ever been. I mean, we went through having two of the best chairmen in MEC history, Sam Martinez and Terrell McCann. We also had two of the best vice chairmen, Terrell McCann and me. So when we're taking this into a perspective, I think the Democratic Party has been in the best position it's ever been. They've also gained members. They've gained around 80 members within Sam Martinez and Terrell McCann being chairman. and they also are very good at getting the support they need. And I just don't get how whenever Lib Dems and Republicans give up this notion that the Democrats are not the best party right now to be in. I disagree with that 100%. I think that the Democratic Party is in the best position, and there's not much information to dispute that.
Okay, Mr. Panda, do you have any questions for Harvey?
Yes. So, like, people, like me, who, have won once, or maybe, like, once, or, like, barely, yeah. Do you think they're, like, old and, like, should not be reelected and stuff?
No, I don't think they're old because they're not being reelected. I think that they're not being elected mainly due to, in part, of the fact that MEC has been favoring the people who are popular. I mean, anyone who's ever been elected once and haven't been reelected or had any positions since at least back in March and all that stuff are people who are, I guess you can say, new to politics. So when you joined, you ran against Cameron Andrew and you beated him by more than 10%. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that race was unexpected because many people were expecting Cameron Andrews, not Cameron Andrews, but Andrew,
Caleb Andrews.
Yeah, Caleb Andrew to win, and he ended up losing. So when it comes to people being popular, well, let's just brush this off to the side. Caleb Andrew wasn't really a popular politician in most aspects. He was the same person that was literally plotting out votes. Let me keep in mind with you. This might be me defending myself because it most likely is. He was trying to get the Republicans to retain control of the House, or at least gain control of the House more specifically. And what he instead of
You're cutting it out.
what he did instead is he got many Republicans.
Harvey?
I'm not cutting out. And
okay, go on now, because you're good now. Okay.
Okay, so what he did instead is he got many Republicans to vote against me and vote for Ethan Fitzgerald, and that helped the Democrats instead of helping the Republicans. And he didn't acknowledge that until after the election. And little did you know, he left MEC 2 days after the election. So when it comes to the election and people being popular, end up being elected, and the same people whose only term served one term not being elected again, it's not because of the fact that they're old. It's the fact that the people are running and their character is what really matters. Character is what matters in MEC. You have to be this kind, funny person to end up winning in MEC. And there's no way that there's somebody there's no way that someone will ever win an election in MEC if you do not have these simple ideologies. MEC isn't a serious community. And you can tell it's not a serious community when a majority of the people who are getting elected are only getting elected because of the fact that they have this funny personality. Funny personalities have should not be any factor in voting. Voting should be based off of their bills that they've written, if they've ever been senator or representative. That's a really small comparison to many other issues, such as their own policy stances, how they plan to set their vision out for people in District 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2, or maybe even 1. It all matters about policy. It doesn't matter about whether or not you're funny or not, or whether you can make more people laugh than others. I mean, if that was the case, then I'm pretty damn sure that people like me would be elected every single time. So, yeah, there's not much to actually say about personality. It's more about character, and if you are able to have a good vision that people actually agree with.
Okay, what do you think the current state, Harvey, is of the current state of the AC?
The AC is set to fail. I mean, we all know that because of the fact that it's been following the same footsteps as the BOD, the Mod Council, and all that stuff. They end up doing very well the first 2 months of its existence. Then they end up controlling ballots. Then there's calls for rigging, and then not the community, yeah, basically the community ends up rallying with those who think that the AC, the MD, MC or BOD is rigging, and that's just the simple fact. It's an endless cycle. The community ends up voting on an admin council. The admin council does good for 2 months and plays good boy for 2 months. Then they end up controlling the ballots, in which people start claiming that they are rigging, even though some cases they aren't. And then the people start to rally against the BOD. In this case, it would be the admin council, in which that the admin council must be abolished by Ethan Kelly. That's a simple concept when it comes to these types of councils, and it's really hard to get out of.
Do you think we should abolish any kind of council?
I agree. We should be abolishing any type of council.
And do you think if there's any major changes, like the way things are done, it should be voted by the House and the Senate?
I think we should vote it by the voters. I don't think the House and the Senate should be deciding whether or not a VOD or AC would stay alive. I think that it should be based on the voters. If the voters are the one that are choosing the representatives and the senators and the presidents, I find it no bad for the voters to decide whether or not the BOD should be extinct or not. And
I do have to say something. Do you think you would like it better if the AC would, if they want something, they'd make a poll and they'd go forward if the poll does well, and if majority of people don't want it to happen, they'll abolish the idea?
Well, I don't think it's about a poll or not. I think it should be in a ballot, because most of the time in polls, many people tend to vote with alts, and there's many people in MAC that vote with alts, and I'm going to exclude myself because of the fact that there is no significant proof that I have alts and I'm voting on it. So we're going to brush that off the side. And when it comes to ballots, I think ballots is the best form, more specifically a presidential election ballot, because that is when the turnout tends to be significantly high. And we need high turnout, because high turnout shows that a high majority of people or a high minority of people disapprove or approve of the subject in question. And a poll or a House ballot would not deal as much as a general election or a presidential ballot.
Okay, but Harvey, I have a question. So if you get on the AC, are you gonna try to abolish the AC if you get on it?
I'm not gonna try and abolish it until it does something bad. Until it does something so immorally out of touch with MEC voters and MEC guidelines and MEC anything, we must abolish it if they follow that track. If they don't follow that track, which seems to be the case for now, and that's the key word, for now, then we should let it go. Simple concept.
I gotta go now, so nice talking to everyone.
Okay, bye, Mr. Fernando.
Goodbye.
Okay, Harvey. Do you have any? I have just one last question. Before we have to wrap this up. That's okay with you. What is your opinion on the current president, Tom Kirkman?
Disapprove of him. Not only Tom has been this president that has not lived up to many people's expectations, he's also been known as this president who's not actually done a lot. Sure, you could say that, oh yeah, he helped people solve issues such as, I guess you could say around policy-wise. He hasn't been the president that hasn't showed the best character. Most of the times he's in the Met calls calling people out for absolutely nothing. He's never once considered his time to actually stay out of these types of businesses. And
sorry, Harvey, can you restart? I couldn't hear you there. You cut out.
So what I think about the President Tom Kirkman is I disapprove of him because he hasn't been showing the best character. He's been calling people jokes. He's been making fun of people, calling them names and all that stuff. Sure, that might sound hypocritical from me, but I just don't think that Tom doesn't have has the best personality. If I had to compare him with a group of presidents, I would consider him to be those Calvin Hawthorne, David Delaney presidencies where they end up being good for the first 2 weeks, but ends up being a complete mistake by the third week.
Do you have any last things you want to say, Harvey?
Yeah. My last thing is, I made a quote on one of my numerous posts that I made like a couple of days ago, no, a couple months ago, back in like June. I forgot what it is, but all I can say is if you are running in MEC or just joined MEC, run for something, get your voices heard, get your policies there, let people know who you are personally, let them know who you are politically, give them a good understanding of how you are, and get in there and win it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Harvey, and also thank Mr. Panda who just has left. But I've been Cameron Andrews, and 1 second, sorry. Thank you for watching the Daily News. This has been the Daily News, and thanks for watching.